Hi, so today we're going to be working on an 820-3435 that's dead, it has no power, it has no PP3V42, and as with most of the stuff that I get nowadays, it has been previously fucked with. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting one. So before we get into that, just want to do a small announcement, so a small bit of shilling, is that we've done a price drop on a couple of things. We've got a sale going on, and I don't want you to miss out, so I'm just going to go over some of the stuff that I have on sale here, and let's put that on the screen. So the first thing we got for sale here is the Amtech Flux. I've lowered the price considerably. I got a much better deal from Amtech. We'll see how long that lasts. So the Flux on the site right now, we lowered the price of the plunger and the needle, and that is $15.49 for a full 30cc syringe. And as you can see, I have got a lot of it. Like, I have more than, can I hold it all in one hand at once? Let's see. Jesus Christ. All right, that's too much to hold in one hand without it all slipping. The next thing that I got here are some more goodies for y'all. I have some of these multimeter probes here. As you can see, people have been asking on stream, why are mine always bent? And it's because I'm an idiot and I always drop them. Sometimes I step on them. Sometimes I scrape things. You'll notice I scrape pieces of the board away with them. So I always screw mine up, and I was sick of buying new ones at a regular price, so I bought a bunch of these. So I got a bunch of meter probes. I bought a lot of them, and they all sold out very quickly. So I've got another 200 of them on the way, and those should be in soon. So over here you can see we got 10 left, but by the time these go out of stock, I'll probably have another 200 in. $4.99, shipped straight from the store, not from China, the same probes that I'm using over here. We've got also the solder paste. I lowered the price on solder paste here. $29.99. You'll see that I've tried to get more competitive on the pricing of some of these chipsets that people use regularly. So you got the ISL659 down to $429. If you buy 5 of them, you can buy the ISL659 for as low as $179 each. And if we go over stuff like some of the iPhone connectors here, so iPhone 6 FPC. Let's see. How bad is my site search? Oh, it's pretty bad. Oh yeah, it's pretty awful. Let's see. J2523. How about that? Here we go. So you'll see I got a bunch of connectors in stock. We have the connectors for almost everything on the MacBook, connectors for everything on all the iPhones, the iPads, and we're going to be getting more tools and stuff in stock as time goes on. Get an ultrasonic cleaner made by Crest OEM. Cleans great with Branson EC. TCRS, we got to talk about that later because I'm starting to get sick and effing tired of the ridiculous delays that Crest gives me on almost everything I ask to order from them. So we got to have a talk about that later. Let's see. So we're going to move on now that I'm done shilling. Hey, if I'm going to shill for anybody, it's going to be myself. Because if you don't shill for yourself, then who the fuck will? So let's move on to this. And let's see. So we have what looks to be a bit of a mess. So let's just take some measurements on this mess. And minimize all my windows, get over to the schematic and the board view, and go over to the PP3V42 area. And as you all know, we need PP3V42 in order for anything to work, and as you can see, there is no green light in the charger. No green light in the charger means probably no PP3V42. No PP3V42 means no power. So, hey, we have 0 drop frames. That can't be right. 0 drop frames with Time Warner? Man, I'm not buying that. Something's fishy. Anyway, so let's go over to the area where PP3V42 is going to be created and see what's going on. Let's also turn on the multimeter here and see what's going on. Carly Kloss makes me want to build a website. I'm happy that Carly Kloss decided that she wants to advertise on my stream. I approve. Thank you. I got to do a thank you video to her later. I went from 1 million views a month to 2.2 million views a month at the exact time that Wix changed over to Carly Kloss. which tells me something. It tells me that she pretty much doubled the views of my channel. So I have to send her flowers or hot chocolates or something. I have to do something to show my appreciation. And we'll get to that. Okay, so first things first is let's find PP3V42's output. Now over here, you're going to see that this is designed to take the power from the charger up here. This is designed to take the 18 volts from the charger. This transistor is going to let it through. This resistor is going to act like a fuse. This diode keeps the power from the... allows this to have two inputs. So it can either get its input from the charger or the battery. This diode keeps the power from the charger from going directly into the battery and destroying it. This chip then takes the either 8 volts or 18 volts and turns it into the output of 3.4. So first thing we're going to do is measure the output and see what we get. Where we're supposed to be getting 3.4 volts. It's going to be this coil over here. I'm sure it isn't the coil, because it's never the coil, as Jessa would say, although that has been proven to be fake news on several occasions. So it looks like over here we're getting 0.4 volts. Now there could be several causes of that. There could be no input voltage, so that the chip is not getting what it's not getting what it's supposed to create that, or it could be a short to ground. So let's just rule out a short to ground first by putting the multimeter in diode mode. Take the red probe, put it on ground. Take the black probe and put it on output. And as you'll see, we're getting 0.283, which is a standard reading. Usually 0.269 to 0.287 is a standard reading diode mode for PP3V42 on these particular boards. No short to ground whatsoever, which means that we most likely have either a chip failure or nothing on input or something to do with all this flux on the board. So let's see. Let's take a look and see what we get on input. So we have nothing on output. So now if we were to go all the way over to input, which is going to be on R7005 over here. Let's just check out R7005. And that's going to be right up here. We're going to plug the charger back in. Remember, you always unplug the charger when you're checking for a short to ground. The meter is going to put voltage through the board and see how much comes through on the other end. That's not going to work too well if you already have voltage going through the board. And if you have a really bad meter, worst case scenario, damages your meter. So we're going to go right over to R7005. Get that under the microscope. It's going to be that top resistor over there. Measure the input voltage, and as you can see, we're getting 0.619 volts, meaning that the charger voltage is not making its way through to the computer. So now we're going to work our way back even more and check out the Q7010 area. Q7010 is going to be responsible for allowing the charger voltage through from the charge port through to the circuit. Now, Q7010 is a P-channel Mosfet. Being a P-channel Mosfet, the voltage on the source over here, this source, pin 5, needs to be higher than the voltage on the gate. So the gate voltage has to be lower than the source in order for the power to flow from the source to drain. So the way this works is voltage will flow from source to drain. This will flow if the voltage on the gate is lower than the voltage on the source. So how are we going to make this happen? Well, we have over here R7010 and R7011. R7010 and R7011 are responsible for ensuring that the voltage in the gate is the same as the voltage in the source at all times. So that means it's never going to open. Game over, right? Wrong. Because D7012 over here allows a path to ground. And since D7012 allows a path to ground from the gate, that means that the voltage in the gate is going to be slightly lower than the voltage in the source, allowing this entire circuit to work and open. Now, a couple of things can go wrong here. D7012 can be bad. The trace between D7012 and R7011 can be bad. The C7012 can short, meaning that even if the diode is bringing a path to ground, the capacitor, once it turns into a wire, is going to overload that. So the diode is dripping this much voltage to ground, or this much current to ground, but the capacitor is sending this much to make up for it. So the capacitor could become short-circuited, meaning that the voltage in the source and the gate of this transistor will always be the same, because the capacitor is one leg between the source and the gate. But there's only one way to find out. And before we get started on this, the first thing I want to do is just clean up some of that flux with some hot air. Just going to get the hot air station on, get my fume extractor on. We're just going to clean it up a little so we can see exactly what's going on over there. So let's get under the microscope, turn off the meter for the moment since we don't need that on, and get going. I'm one of the ones to who YouTube shoved your videos down my recommendation throat, and I enjoy watching them. I've watched many older videos too, so thank you for the vids. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that. I appreciate every now and then when one of the 1,000 people that YouTube shoves my content down the throat have actually wanted to see it. Yeah. All right. Do those guys at iFixit know anything? No, I posted a question about an A1226 and they said I couldn't fix it. And the A1226 came out in 2007, so I mean I don't fix that either. It's because I know what I'm doing that I don't fix that computer, because it will always die again. It's just, yeah, A1286 very bad. That thing was a piece of shit when it was new, but it's especially a piece of shit now. All right, so first thing to do here is just clean off the residue so we can start fresh. Pieranov is in the house. We have genius level people in chat. Now I know I'm gonna get this board solved, because if I can't figure it out, I can just ask him. See how that works? Now I'm gonna show you the common level defect that most people don't notice when troubleshooting this entire section. The one thing that you can't see until you clean. You ready? We're gonna clean. Get my little get a Q-tip, some alcohol. Now the Q-tip's not going to get in between everything, but that's fine. The ultrasonic cleaner will. Now if you take a look, what here doesn't look very good? I'll leave it up to you. Let me just see if I can get this perfectly in focus for you, as good as I can. So what connections look like they're not being made that should be getting made on this 11-inch air? To the one person in the chat making comments on suicide, I would highly suggest seeing a therapist. There's not a lot I can do on live stream here, but I would say go see a therapist. Oh. What for?
Oh, donor board?
Oh, this doesn't need a donor.
Oh, really?
You'll see. Test points, exactly. So if we scratch over here, you'll see that this is gone. I complain to Amazon France that they take into account the Rossman Group link. It is in their interest and they will study my request. Greetings from Paris. Why, thank you. I've always wondered why it was that France was the only country that decided that they were not going to allow an Amazon affiliate account to be open for me. The only country. I thought maybe if Le Pen won that, they'd start letting conservatives have Amazon affiliate accounts there, but no such luck. Anyway, so if we were to look over here and scrape, you'll notice that it doesn't seem like it's very well connected. And I could be wrong, but I'm just going to see what's under these test points. I'm going to scrape away all the corrosion. Scrape away all the corrosion. Scrape away all the corrosion. And then we're going to Q-tip it again. I'm just going to keep Q-tipping mercilessly. Grab away the alcohol. Add a very, very tiny bit of flux. The tiniest bit there is. Not sure if Lewis is being sarcastic about election. Somewhat semi-sarcastic. I try to make humor out of everything. Alright. So we do this. Why not clean it in the bath first? Because it removes my hints. I like seeing hints. I like having my hints. We attach the charger. Let's see what voltage we get at some of these different points now. Right. Do you like to draw Pepe on your boards? I don't, but Nitrocaster does. You're thinking of Nitrocaster. All right, so let's see what we get on the input of the transistor. So pin 5. Which I'm supposed to measure here. Now that should be charger voltage. And we get 2.3? Huh? That's not good. Now I wonder if that... What are we getting over at the DC in board? The DC in board is also giving us 2.3. Okay, so this is going to go back to what we talked about the other day. Now, a MacBook charger is different from my power supply. The MacBook charger needs to see a load. It has to see a load in order to output. If it doesn't see the load of the system, then it's only going to output 2 to 3 volts. If it sees the load of the system, it will output voltage the way it's supposed to. So it will go all the way up to 18. Now, there are 2 main power rails in the machine. There's PP3V42 and PP G3 hot. Every rail in the system comes from PP G3 hot and PP3V42. The PP3V42 area, as nasty as it looks, actually has everything connected. So the next, and PP3V42 takes up a very small amount, barely anything. So the charger is not going to see that as a load and open and start working properly. It's going to start opening once it sees the pathway to create PP bus G3 hot. So if we were to look over at the PP bus G3 hot area, you'll see that over here, on the PP bus G3 hot area, we have from adapter PP DC and G3 hot, and that has to go through this inrush limiter before it can go over and become PP bus G3 hot. So before the charger voltage can get split and diced up from 18 to 8 and be sent to the system, before the charger can see the load of the system, Q7180 has to open. So if we look over at Q7180, let's see what that looks like. So Q7180 is going to be located up here, and ladies and gentlemen, I think we found our problem. Now, this is a very confusing aspect for new people, and the reason is that I always say that PP3V42 needs to be present before PP bus G3 hot is present. So the awkward part of this system then becomes, why is it that the PP bus G3 hot circuit can keep the PP3V42 circuit from working if you need PP3V42 before you get PP bus G3 hot? And this is one of those areas where you're probably not going to get it unless you've gone through this a lot of times. And you're not going to get it unless you really understand and comprehend the idea that these MagSafe chargers will only work if they see a load. If it doesn't see a load, you'll maybe get 16 volts for like a quarter of a second, but that's it. It'll go back down to 3. It needs to see the load of the system, or else it'll shut itself down. And over here, as you can see, the space where I'm supposed to see the gate, the transistor that's going to open and allow the charger to see the load of the system is gone. Thanks for the streams. I learned a lot from them, and it keeps my mind off things. And my mom passed away on Sunday after a 3-year fight with terminal cancer. Ouch. I'm sorry to hear that. It sounds terrible. I wish you the best of luck with going through the stages of grief there. So what we have to do is I have to remove that transistor, and I have to repeal and replace it with a superior one. Which is more than I can say for what's been going on over the past 2 weeks. So where's my T5? I had my T5 right in front. Here we go. Right in front of me, as always. So I'm going to take out the SSD because the SSD is put right next to that. And I would actually be surprised if the SSD works or has any data on it, because this is what the SSD looks like on this machine. Now, granted, the SSD is covered in underfill because the SSD is made by Samsung, which is a respectable company. And one of the things that's, well, not always, but a good amount of the time, Samsung is a respectable company. And what they do is they put underfill around these ICs so that if water gets on them, the SSD doesn't get raped. If Apple did the same thing with a lot of their components, then there would really be no need for people like me to even exist, I guess, at least in this specific industry. So I'm going to take the SSD out just so I don't burn it. Would be surprised if it works. I am kind of curious if the SSD got 8 volts instead of 3 at any single time. Ever see an 3330 missing PM sleep S5L? It happens. It happens. So here we've got some funny shit by the SSD. What I'm really interested is in the funny shit around this inrush limiter. So let's remove this and gonna preheat from far away in the beginning. Gentoo is the only Linux distro one should use. Incorrect. That's torture. You want to spend 3 hours fucking with like portage package conflicts, or do you want to use your computer? No, thank you. If somebody else wants to, that's great. By all means, freedom. Use whatever you want, but yeah, not me. No. I used Gentoo from 2003 through 2014, and no, never again. Like back when there wasn't package conflicts for everything, even basic installations. How or where can I get MTech in Holland? We ship to Holland, and we've lowered the price so much that you can actually buy it to Holland, and it should still be fairly affordable. The link is in the description below if you want to buy Flux. And did I say that I sell to Holland? Because I sell to Holland. We sell to Holland. We're more than happy to ship you Flux, multimeter probes, chipsets, anything else. If you don't... Why can't my husband and I find funding for a store? Ah, that's a good one. So, in the beginning, I did not have a... Well, here's the thing. Here's what I... Here, let me tell you what I think on the whole store concept. I think the same thing with stores as I do with studios. So, with recording studios, what a lot of people do is they say, I'm going to open a studio and then people will come. But that's not often how it works. What people should be doing with recording studios, at least back in the day, was you work out of other people's studios and you work freelance. And once you have so much business that you cannot schedule yourself around the other people that use the independent studio, you open your own. Like once you're booked the entire day, and by the time that you are at the point where you're booked 12 hours a day for the next 5 or 6 months, you can afford the studio. Now, with a store, the thing is with this business is that the barrier to entry in this business is so low compared to any other business, and that's actually a good thing for people who don't have a lot of money, particularly like me. You know, in 2008, 2009, I had $268. So what you can do, thank you to Christogen, anyway, what you can do is just work out of an apartment or work out of your house, or what you can do is you can share space. So what I did is I went to this studio owner that had a really nice lounge-looking space. It was right in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, a few blocks from Penn Station. Very convenient location. Had a receptionist, had huge couches, had a television. It was a really nice place. It wasn't like those bullshit shared office spaces where you're like sharing a fucking cubicle with, you're sharing, like you have a table and you're sharing that with 30 other people and paying $250 a month. It wasn't that kind of crap. It was a beautiful looking recording studio that wasn't very crowded most times of the day. It just looked really nice, and it was all available for me. And I said, I will make sure that everything in every room works. I'm going to make sure that all the equipment in all these rooms works all the time. You will never have a client come to you and say, I want my money back for this session, or I want my money back for this rehearsal because something didn't work. In exchange, I want to tell people that this space is mine and I use it, and I work out of here. And it was a great deal because I didn't have the money. Now, when I got the store, I actually had I finally got to a point where I had enough money to pay like a few months of rent, but at that point, my PayPal account was actually frozen. So that kind of fucked me with construction, which is why if you walk into my store, you're going to notice that a lot of the construction was really half-assed and shit. if even completed at all, because a lot of the construction that I did was with no money, and with the credit score I had at the time. Hell, if anybody was hell, if any bank was gonna finance that. But my point is, in this business, you don't necessarily need to start off with a store or a beautiful location. And if you start into it thinking, I need a store, then you're kind of entering it with a disadvantage, because you're entering it with that idea that you have to spend more than you have when you don't. You know, as a store, you know, before I thought, oh, people would trust me more when I have a store, but I'm cheaper without a store. Then when I had a store, and I was, more people trust me, but more people complain about price because I have to charge more because I have a store. It's like it's never going to end. You know, customers are always going to have something to complain about. So I wouldn't really go too nuts about the fact that you don't have a store. I would, you know, take your time and wait. And if you can do it on your own without financing, by all means, you're gonna. I say this as somebody. I've had several businesses in my lifetime. Some of them have been all self-funded. Some have been a little self-funded, and some have been almost no self-funded. And what I can say is that when you're using other people's money, it makes you think differently. Like when somebody hands you over, and I say this, and I'm going to do a video on this in a few. I say this as somebody who's been given $20,000 or who's been given a loan of $150,000. Like when it's not your money, you think differently about how to spend it. You just go, oh, you know, I didn't have the money before to do this thing or do it perfectly, but now I do, so because this person lent it. So let me do things that are not necessarily going to give me as an immediate return or a return within the next few months, but that would just be nice to have. Let's, you know, like again, and one of the reasons that I have things like this this box on, you know, this little piece of cardboard on my bathroom door, it's symbolic for me. This thing is symbolic. You know, I could replace this door for 40 bucks. 40 bucks is nothing to me at this point in my life. But the lesson there is that I could replace that. It's not going to earn me a dime more money. It's not going to give me a star more credibility. Nobody's going to care. And since it's my money, it's not, you know, loaned money where you got this idea in your head that it's magic money that you don't have to pay back, that I'm not going to spend on that. I will spend on equipment. I will spend on employees. I will spend on tools. I'm not going to spend on that. That's a fucking waste of money. And the reason I do that is because I never want to forget where I was in my early 20s when I had those businesses that failed, because I had this idea of like, I need to do everything right. I need to do everything professionally. No, you don't. You need to do things that make money, that make logical sense. And as my friend's mom says, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. You can't afford a store right now, just fine. Just do what you can with what you have available to you, and don't drive yourself nuts because somebody else has a store and you don't. That's not going to define your legitimacy as a business. That's not going to define your success level. That doesn't mean that you're a failure because you don't have a store. It just means that, you know, you're closer to the bottom of the ladder right now, but that doesn't mean you can't climb it. But if you try to take on all this financing and all this other shit, you know, sometimes it works out great, but sometimes it really doesn't. And a lot of industries, you know, you really do need that retail location. And let me tell you, this is not one of them. Anyway, let's see what's in the... Just going to clean this a little bit. Chris Long says, I worked out of my kitchen for 3 years. You can wait for a store. And Chris Long is probably one of the most talented people that watches this channel, if anything, smarter than I am at most of this stuff. And he worked out of a kitchen for 3 years. So listen to the people in the chat that are telling you to save your money and not screw yourself. 3P42 hates pubes. Yep. Do you send flux to Israel? Absolutely. I will send flux to Israel. If you pay for it, I will. How do you feel about marriage or long-term relationships? Question needs to be more specific. It's like, how do you feel about automobiles? Okay. Let's see. That SSD area of the board looks pretty cancerous. Pretty cancerous. But right now, I'm just kind of curious if my transistor is going to result in it turning on. I'm also going to look at the ISL6259 area of the board. See if that looks cancerous. ISL6259 area is actually looking pretty sexy. Do you take PayPal? Sure. Absolutely. I'll take your PayPal. I'll take your money. Why don't you just put it in the ultrasonic? I can't answer that question again. I've answered it 3 times this stream. I'm sorry. I know. I'm an asshole. But okay, now as you can see, I still have no green light, no fan spin, and virtually no change in anything since changing that transistor. which leads the question of, do we have any change in voltages since I've done that? Let's see if we've gotten any changes. What do you think of you break, we fix? You break, I fix? Is you break, are you making fun of you break, I fix, or is there actually another franchise with almost the same name? Franchises usually seem heavy on the messes, heavy on the branding, heavy on the sexy locations, and heavy on getting a lot of upfront money from people that are excited about the idea, but light on the brains, logistics, knowledge, all that stuff. So let's see. So on DC in, we are getting the exact same voltage that we were before of 1.3, I guess. Up here, charger voltage is still 2.3. Huh. Now I guess one of the things I'm interested in is, did the DC in fuse kind of soft blow? So let's take a look at the DC in fuse on the DC in board. And we've got 2.3 volts on each side. If I was to check this in diode mode here, it's in our resistance mode. Let's do resistance. The DC in fuse is measuring that's not a blown fuse by any stretch of the imagination. I'm kind of wondering, is anything under the what is this stuff here? I know I shouldn't be focusing on this right now, but all right, what is this shit? So what is making its way? So we have 1.3 volts at one point on the board, right? So let's go back to U7090. Let's go back to U7090. So over here, we have 1.3 volts. But over here, we have 2.3? That doesn't really make sense to me. That kind of tells me that there may be a break somewhere in the line, so maybe something is keeping it from seeing the system load. So at the DC in fuse, I have 2.3 volts. But right over here, I am getting 2.3. Crap. All right, that breaks that theory to hell and back. Huh. All right, this is going to be an interesting one. Let's see, what do we get near this DC in transistor? All right, so this board looks like it's going to be a little bit more annoying than I thought, so I'll read some of your chat and then move on to troubleshooting the rest of this. Let's see. What is the chance of a phone is ghosting that it's a software bug? No, I don't know. A phone. Which phone? No history, no info, no clue. Borrowing from family or friends is not good either. They feel entitled to everything you make. Depends on your definition of friend. I'm very careful with using the F word. As I say, there are a few people that I would have called the F word in the past, and I gave them anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000. I said, I don't want any money back. Best of luck with your idea. The people who are really close to you, or the people the people you should be close with, are the people who are never gonna hold that against you or have that over your head. They're the people that are actually going to give you real welfare and real charity. Let's see. Let's see. What do we have here? Let's. Jessica says, I worked out of my dining room for 3 years until I was forced to open a store to get employees out of my house. Yeah, it should be an organic thing. It shouldn't be, I want a store. It should be, I need a store because I can't fit all these people in my apartment. I need a store because I can't do house calls because there's too many people asking for too small periods of time in my day. I mean, there's too many people asking for these periods of time that overlap each other, and I can't visit them all. Keep up the good work and install a BS filter in the chat. Greets from Holland. I don't know how to make a BS filter in the chat. I was in your store today and wanted to pick up a tool set, but you don't sell them. How come you don't sell toolkits? I don't really, I mean, I don't want to sell a toolkit. Like iFixit sells these toolkits, and they're nice people. It's just that they have these toolkits with like where you can buy with 35 bits, and I buy it, and it costs a good amount of money, and the bits work for like the first 5 uses, and then they get stripped. I don't want to do that, and it's one of those things where if iFixit can't get it right after 10 years, when they care about their customers, what chance do I have to get it right? I mean, just buy Weha, buy Wera. You don't need my tools. Yeah. Maybe I should sell some Penelope screwdrivers. But if I did, I would just be selling the stuff that Amazon sells and tripling the price of it. In that case, I don't really see where I'm adding any value. I guess I could do that. Okay. Anyway, so, okay, I have no excuse but to go through this shitboard now. All right, this sucks. Did I put a bad transistor on? What's going on? Roar, this sucks. This so sucks. Friends are highly overrated people, to quote my father, says Canadian Vice. I agree. I'm not a fan of the F word. Every time somebody says the F word, they usually want something from you for free. Friend and free, right next to each other. Let's see, are any of these points? Oh, no, all the interesting stuff is going to be covered under the transistor. Lameness. Maybe I got to reset my charger. Maybe it's confused. What happens if I use the knockoff one? Kind of curious. Let's see. Knockoff charger? What do we get with that? See, knockoff charger on DC in is going to get me 16.72, but no MagSafe light. All right, so knockoff is letting voltage through. Now the obvious question is going to be, why is the regular one not letting stuff through, and also why am I not getting a green light? So let's see. Do I get 3.42 volts over here? Now with a knockoff charger, I get 2.564 instead of 3.42. So the first thing I'm going to be interested in doing here is I want to restore PP3V42 with my knockoff charger. So I just switched over to knockoff charger because the knockoff charger, it doesn't give a fuck if it sees a load. It's just no load, 16 volts. Board is on fire, 16 volts. Board has water on it, 16 volts. Board is burning customers' genitals, 19 volts. Like, knockoff charger doesn't care. So I always have a knockoff charger on the desk next to the regular one. So first journey, I'm going to see just out of curiosity, can I get PP3V42 to 3.4 volts instead of 2.5 with the knockoff charger, and we'll go from there. And, 720 people watching. Imagine that. Wow. All right, so the first thing we're going to do here is just let's make sure that voltage is making its way through to the U7090 chip area. Someone says, hello, friend. How dare you call me that? Why is there no more Twitch stream? Because Restream sucks at any bit rate over 4 megabit per second, and it makes the streams look like shit. And I can't blame Restream because it's free. So it's one of those area things where I can't be a customer because it's free. But I hate that word, free. Free. All right, so it looks like we get 16 volts here. Do we get 16 volts at the diode? 16 what are we getting at the diode? 15. All right, there's going to be a little voltage drop after that. That's fine. Not mad at that. You get 15 volts here. Okay, now we get to the PP3V42 regulator. So on the PP3V42 regulator, we get 2.6. But 2.6 is not 3.2. That's bad. So let's see, is there something wrong with our feedback resistors over here? Is the shutdown pin getting what it's supposed to? So the shutdown pin needs to be getting more than 3 volts or else it's going to shut down the chip. The way I know that is if you can just Google this datasheet, LT3470 AED, you'll find it. I'm not going to actually show you the datasheet of the facts. I'm going to be like Schenk from Young Turks and just tell the audience to just fucking Google it. Anybody see Ben Shapiro versus the guy from the Young Turks? Holy crap. That was painful to watch. That was painful to watch. I felt so bad for that guy. Oh, man. Just got... Okay, so what do we get? So we have 16 volts in our shutdown pin. Now we're going to need the, we're going to need the, you have these two resistors, R7095, R7096. Where are those going to be? Let's see, R7095, R7096, R7095, R7096, R7096. Mm-hmm. All right, so R795, R796 are going to be there and there. And do we have our resistors? We do. They're all in place. Interesting. All right, let's unplug everything here. Mind if I do GoFundMe to get husband out of house? Are you asking, like, you're trying to pay people to make your husband go away? Is that, am I understanding this correctly? Okay. Okay, so we have 138 kilo ohms in R7096, which is, and it's going up, so that resistor is fine. That's being a hashtag high impedance resistor. And the other one that's supposed to be 348 kilo ohms. And that one's, yeah, all this shit seems fine. All right, interesting. So do we have a bad PP3V42 regulator, maybe? Is that what it is, or are we getting trolled by something else? Perhaps an output capacitor, maybe? It has C7098. C7098, where is that? That's to the left? Huh. Yeah, I have a feeling it's not going to be this. I have a strange feeling that it's not going to be any of these things, but let's see. This board does not look like it has a nice PP3V42 regulator on it. Let's grab a different one. Let's grab one that doesn't look like balls. Could also be that it's not getting enough current let through. I should check back here at the Q7010 area on pin 5 and 4 before we go forward. Right, so over here. You're an inspiration, high from the nation's capital. Looking to do this work as a hobby when I retire from service work. Now at the international assist manufacturer, Burrito. Thank you. Okay, so we have 16 volts there. And this is kind of weird. Huh, that's not what this is supposed to be. That's letting everything through to ground. Yeah, it's supposed to be something like 16 volts on the source of Q7010, and then something along the lines of like 5 to 9 volts on the gate, but we're getting 0.7. So that sounds kind of screwed up to me. So let's just, we're going to go through this area in R and R, which is repeal and replace. I always wondered what text meant when they said R and R. Never really quite understood that. But now I do. All right, so repeal, 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 repeal. And Lewis, you and I should run for president. We can decide it was Prez or Vice Prez, but Jessa has to be our Hillary, aka Secretary of State. That could be fun. That's the schematic program they call that you have open on the left. That is Open Board View. I have a link to it in the description below. Also a link to the guy who programmed it. His name is Paul Daniels. He has a great YouTube channel. And I thank him very much for programming this for us. Okay. Pads are bridged under the transistor you soldered on. They sure are. They sure are. Now tell me why that is. Why are the pads bridged? Yeah. Do knockoff chargers also have to see a load? They don't. It depends on the knockoff. Most of them don't. They don't care. They would send 16 volt. They would send 16 volts to anything. Don't you have music in the background? Because I want to keep all my YouTube ad revenue so that I can use it to buy a burrito when I'm done. I enjoy purchasing burritos with ad revenue. It's one of the highlights of YouTube. Being able to buy a burrito with your YouTube money is a human right. Overusing the word right is a human right. Damn it, didn't put enough solder on that other pad. When are you moving to San Diego? 2024, probably. Right when Trump finishes his second term. Yeah, my lease is here is until 2023, so I gotta wait for the lease to be up. I believe if you are doing this as a hobby or for friends, you shouldn't charge, at least not above the cost of parts. Oh, fuck that. No. Here's the thing. There needs to be a pain points for everything. If there's no pain points, then people are going to ask you to do everything for free. Like set up my Wi-Fi. I mean, they could read the manual for 5 minutes, or you could set it up for... I mean, why read the manual? My friend will do it for free. I could set up my own Synology, but why bother with that? Because my friend will do it for free. Like there should be a pain point for everything, just so that people kind of learn to respect your time. If there's never a pain point, then there's no reason for anybody to do anything themselves, and you'll never have your sanity. Grossman, I can say if you come to India, you will make 3 or 4 shops because too much Mac waste are beeping here. Even I have 2 MacBooks that's not working. I don't want to waste money on this crap shit smother. On one hand, yeah, there may be a demand there. On the other hand, I've come to learn that like intense bargaining is a deep-rooted part of Indian culture. And I was always kind of curious, and then I started talking to some of my Indian customers about it, like while I was fixing their phone, to the few that wanted to pay the retail price. And, you know, what I learned is that in America, you know, the idea of going to Best Buy and arguing about price is silly. It's just nobody does it. Whereas in India, what I learned is that the person that I was talking to said, if you go into a store or a merchant and you pay the sticker price without doing anything, that's considered wrong. Like you've done something wrong by not bargaining. So I hate bargaining. I can't stand it. So I would probably lose my mind there. Oh, man. My parents were the same way, at least my mother, since she came from a small town in Italy where it was constant bargaining on everything. You know, nobody paid retail for anything. I probably she haggled everybody. It was so I'm not like I can't do that. All right, so 16 volts up there and 6.7 on the bottom. Okay, so at the very least the inrush circuit is working the way it's supposed to now. Now let's see if we get PP3V42 on the coil. But we still get fucking 2.6 volts at the coil. That's bullshit. You know what? No, I'm not trusting any of this shit. Get off. Get out. Go away. Suck it. GTFO. We're just So many people get taken advantage of by their friends. If they really care, they would compensate you for your time. Yeah, I agree. I don't want to. I mean, I have enough shit. I have enough people at my job that want everything for free. Like the people that call themselves my friends should understand that when I'm done with the day, this is not what I want to fucking do with my life. And if they don't, then they're not the. Just stop with the F word. D7012 is doing its job just fine. You're supposed to be getting 5 to 7 volts on the gate. D7012 did nothing wrong here. At least this new one. Did the new chairs arrive yet? Alright, so now the orientation of this chip is... Oh, there's no dot on it. That's cruel. Wait, I can just check on this one that I don't want to take it from. This is the donor I don't want to take it from because it looks red and burned. This is the donor I do want to take it from. Okay. So this is the way it goes. Where do you get all the donor boards? Random Chinese sellers. I clean all the stuff off the board when I'm done with my ultrasonic cleaner. I have a Crest CP500D, now discontinued model, but it does the job. Alright, so now we're going to plug this in, and if it still has 2.4 volts, I'm going to scream. But that's probably going to be the case, that we still have 2.4 volts. That would just be rage-worthy. That would be quite rage-worthy. Rage-worthy. Oh, so rage-worthy. Are those resistors on nicely? Let's see. Feedback resistor. Let's see. Where is that supposed to be? Okay, so that's ground. That goes there. That goes there. Huh. Alright, just for the hell of it. You got to go. What's this corroded looking thing over here for? Oh, it's just another probe point. Doesn't matter. How well does this translate into ThinkPads? It's a good. I guess some of the principles are the same. The circuit's probably going to be very different, but. This is dumb. This probably is not going to fix my problem. Alright, last resistor. Would you buy an FX951 off Craigslist if it was used and you got to test it? Sure, why not? Used gear is key to buying good stuff when you're poor. Which is no problem with that. I did it all the time. I'd rather have good used stuff than garbage new stuff, that's for sure. If I had a choice, I had to pick one. Uraz asked Lewis, why do Chinese business people always like to lie, deceive so much, especially online companies? I don't know if it's necessarily a Chinese. I wouldn't say it's a Chinese problem. I think the issue is that in this industry, our only choice are Chinese vendors for most stuff. So, and I wouldn't say that it's a Chinese problem. I would say that it's an industry problem, that all the vendors in our industry are scammers. Now, they just so happen to all be in China because that's where all the shit is made. But I think it's more a repair industry thing than it is a Chinese thing. It's like most of the parts for this business, you know, they're taken off the back of a truck or sold via some middle management guy saying he got less stuff than he did and then sending the rest of it out the back door. This is the shitty and shady industry. I wouldn't put it to Chinese people. I would just say that this is a shitty industry. All right. I probably still have 2.7 because there's no logical reason as to why anything I replaced would have been broken. And, oh, I take it back. Now we're at 2.1. Joy. What do we have on input? Oh, range meter. Yeah, this is dumb. I'm getting owned. Let's see, what does regular charger think at this point, now that we have at least fixed our inrush problem? Alright, so I'm getting 15 volts with non-knockoff. So at least with non-knockoff charger, I'm getting 15 instead of 3. Now let's see if it moves up and down or if it stays steady. So it's staying steady, that's a good thing. And with original charger, I get the same 2.3. So at least we're at the point where the original charger is doing something. But we still have this issue where PP3V42 is 2.3. And that's not a good thing at all. So let's see. What can we examine further on this board to figure out why that is? So what's this thing up here? What is that little corroded shit stain? That is for some Thunderbolt crap. So I don't give a fuck about you. Let's see, what is resistance to grounds on PP3V42 looking like? $23.50 kilo-ohms. 78.6 kilo-ohms. So that 80 kilo-ohms, that's a fine, reasonable number. It's got to be the fucking coil. It's the coil. You replaced the boost cap C7094. No, I didn't. Hey, did I? I'm pretty sure I didn't. Let's see. What did I say about having a high IQ person on stream? He's going to tell me what I did wrong. Oh, no, not only did I not replace it, I didn't even put it on the fucking board. It's missing. Ah, I'm dumb. Okay, yeah. How about putting the cap on the board, you fucking retard? Oh my god. I'm a fucking idiot. Boost cap is not even on the board. I called it in the beginning of the stream that Panzer Finn was going to fix this board for me. And he did. You need high IQ people to do this type of work. You need smart people, and I'm definitely not one of them. Okay. And I didn't see it there because it's not on my donor. Wait, is it not on my donor because it's no stuff? Or is it not on my donor because I stole it from my donor? Let's see. But you get mad at your YouTube audience and go off the deep end like Angry Joe. I don't know who Angry Joe is. I follow very little stuff on YouTube. I mean, I watch my stuff, but I don't spend a lot of time with the rest. C7094 on the donor is going to... Alright, so that's going to be... This little... Yeah, I'm a fucking idiot. Oh, I'm a fucking dumb bastard. What a stupid bastard you are. So the inrush limiter section for PP3V42 and PP-Bus G3 Hot was destroyed. And this. Alright, we're going to put the boost cap on. And hopefully my board can boost again. Let's give it a little cool off. Before I put power through it. Shouldn't you still get 3.42 volts but without ripple? No, the cap that's going to be doing that is going to be C7099 and C7098. So these would be getting rid of the ripple and then storing the voltage. This is for something else entirely. Having that disconnected, yeah, that's not good. It's not. We're going to plug this in and it's going to work. And it's going to work. Oh, or not. All right, let's see what happens now. So did I put the cap in the right space? It looks like I did put the cap in the right space. And in spite of the cap being in the right space, we get... Motherfuck! 2.7 volts. All right, what am I doing wrong here? Somebody with a high IQ tell me what I'm doing wrong here. I'm doing something dumb. The boost cap is there. Let's see. It's interesting. What is... Wait a second. You have 2.7 volts here. Wait, how is it that I have 2.7 here? And 2.7 here. 2.7 there. 5.82 up here? Okay, so interesting. What? Oh man, that's some horseshit. What's this red stuff up there? This is a painful number. Why are we down to 14 volts now? Hey, you have 16.43 up here. And that's steady. Wait, so we have a almost a 1 volt drop across the resistor? What? The resistor is measuring 10 ohms. It's supposed to be 10 ohms. Oh, man. Oh, diode mode here. Resistance of the coil. Let's see. Diode mode of the coil is... Resistors near boost cap. Those have all been replaced. Pretty much everything there, actually. If I pull the coil, the thing is the feedback is attached at the ends over here. So I can't really pull this the same way that I could the fuse on PP bus G3 hot, because the coil has no fuse in front of it or anything like that. Let's see, C7095 is there, right? It is. Let's see, what does it look like underneath that coil? Doesn't look like there's anything wrong underneath that coil. Seems like a sexy coil, doing coilish things. Okay. There's nothing to learn here, since it... Interesting. So we're getting... So it is doing switching. Alright, we're going to replace the coil. How about that, Jessup? Bye-bye, coil. You'll be replaced with a better coil. I have a brown light problem. What? Did you take a shit in your screen or something? What are you... Don't use your MacBook in the restroom. If there's a short down the line, we would not have 80 kilo ohms of resistance to ground. Short down the line is not an option here. That line is 80 kilo ohms of resistance to ground. You're so close to 3.4. You little bastard. Okay. All right, we're going to do what I like to call the windshield wipe. We're going to put this through the ultrasonic cleaner for a minute and see if when it comes out it magically works. Because that would be nice. This does look a little nasty at this point. Wouldn't it be cool if it just magically worked out of the crest? Then I have another product I can shill. Well, but you do a good job with that repair. Good luck with that repair. Thank you. I was going to correct you if you said good job. No good job has been performed yet. Let's get a nice ultrasonicing into good old 80 Celsius. Just stick a battery in series with PP3V42 and call it good. Then I'd be at 4.2 volts. It's a little too much. A little too much for me. Why is there a component loose? No, nothing's loose. Coil doesn't have a path to ground, and therefore cannot be shorted to it. Correct. Meaning something wrong on the load side. Try reinstalling Windows. No. Does he sleep? Never. Oh man, yawning's contagious. Mid-June, you gave me 5 minutes of your time on the phone to help me with my misbehaving P50 service center. Change the board. It's still fucked, but I appreciate your help. What's wrong with your P50, Hellman Fro? And sorry for not noticing that comment for 40 minutes. Should have used Linux. Yep. That would fix all my problems. Wouldn't it, Richard Stallman? All right. That's some ASMR for you all. I've tried to be like you and proceeded to fix my DV6700. I've shorted something on the board and blown the fuse in my multimeter. Are you proud of me? Let's see, is that one of those old shitty HPs with the broken hinges and bad GPUs? It looks like it. I guess I'm proud of you for destroying an HP, a DV series computer. That's, I mean, not usually for destruction of hardware, but if anything deserves it. I still think it's a bad cap that is leaking through. Great, we're on to something. Which cap? Which cap? 820-3435 board. Yes, I'm on. And a quick trip into the oven for the board. HP DVs usually don't need help breaking. Look at Microscope. Yes, Microscope. You're very observant. Let's see. Are you Middle Eastern? No. It's one of the millions of caps that you have to check if you want to be a doctor. Oh, yeah, that was... Let me see if I can find this. Tim sent this. There was this one jackass company. Let me tell him, I hope I can still find this tweet. We check all the capacitors on your board individually to find the one that doesn't work. Yeah, this is it. This is from Tim. Let's get it on the screen. iHospital offers a flat rate off-site repair service for all Mac logic boards. The repair involves carefully inspecting and testing each and every single tiny capacitor on the board. We're talking millions until all are in perfect working order. As you can imagine, this is a very delicate and sometimes lengthy process, but it is met with an extremely high success rate. iHospital's highly skilled depot crew is the best around. Now, this is a screenshot from Tim, and I have reason to think that that's bullshit, because I just refuse. I can't imagine that a company is that fucking stupid that that's their advertising. But let's see. I mean, theihospital.com, not iHospital. So theihospital.com. I got to do something while I'm waiting for that shit to dry. So they've got my favorite, which is this bullshit infinite scrolling thingy, where it's like you're only allowed to have 3 words per page of your fucking website. These sites, because the thing is, I like using my middle finger. It's my favorite finger to use, but it's also my scrolling finger. So if somebody creates a website that requires all this scrolling, it kind of undoes my ability to use my favorite finger. Anyway, that yawn, yes. So let's see, where is that on the site? Because I have a feeling Tim made this shit up, just because I've never heard, because this sounds ridiculous to me. This sounds absolutely fucking ridiculous to me. Let's see, liquid damage. Tim, what page was that on? Information, let's see, about. Franchise information. Of course you're a franchise to say something like that. Did they edit it? Maybe they edited it? Well, okay, we could just Google this. All right, so. We're talking millions. All right, so let's do we're talking millions. We're talking millions, site theihospital.com. Oh my God, this is real. Holy shit. Holy shit, you're not making this up. The repair involves carefully testing and inspecting and testing each and every single tiny capacitor. We're talking millions. Maybe I should send the board to them, because I don't have the patience to check millions of capacitors. Millions. Millions, millions, you fucking franchise. Franchises are just fucking stupid. It's just, like, really, you can't make this shit up. Just stop. This board still's got some alcohol on it, but. Jason, do you check the millions of capacitors on each iPhone before you hand it back to the customer? Are there any iPhone boards that only have, like, so you never only go to like 950,000, you always go the full million? What a company. What a company. Yeah, franchises, they're just like one of the requirements for working at a franchise in this business is that you have an IQ of below 90. If you have an IQ above 90, you're probably not going to be successful at a franchise. They charge $800 for board repair and non-refundable $400. No fucking way. No, no. Come on, you're fucking with me. You're making this up. That can't be. Repair at location. Locate an eye hospital. No. Where are you finding this, Chris Long? Tell me. The longer we make fun of this, let's see. Thank you to Reddy Pusis. $849 for board and $400 non-refundable. What page do I go to find that? Let's see. How about prices? Where's prices? MacBook Pro, liquid damage battery. This is a really annoying website because every single service has its own fucking page. I can't stand this shit. Here we go. The whole point of getting a 4K screen is that I don't have to scroll like this. All right. Where? Hey, let me. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is not a. What is this? This is not a MacBook. What the fuck is this? This is a hard drive controller or something?
It looks like it.
This is a hard drive, isn't it? Oh my god. They what do they do? Does like Google board and take the first thing off of Google image? Oh man. Where do I click? Somebody tell me where to click. I can't see the price. And I give up. Repair by mail. Click that. Okay, I click repair by mail. Call them and tell them. Call them that you need to check millions of capacitors. Yeah, I need somebody who's willing to check millions of capacitors. All right. Anyway, back to work. Enough laughing at eye hospital. What does it look like? What does my sexy board look like? Oh, this is an ugly section. All right, so we've got a couple of things that are interesting. The first is that it seems that there is a break in the line that we couldn't see before, that we can now see. So between here and here, I mean, this is technically connected, but it's barely connected. It's connected through shit. I should probably put a wire here. And I'm pretty sure that's on input voltage to the chip. Yeah, this is kind of being held on by a shred. Couldn't really see that before. If that trace is high resistance, it may be causing my problem. Check your Twitter. You have to contact them. They don't publish it. I copied and pasted the message into 3 tweets. Let's see. Notifications. Liquid damage repair will most likely be required, which is done off-site at our depot repair facility. Cost for repair ranges from $599.99 to $849.99, depending on the computer model. This repair takes 2 weeks to repair, but can be longer depending on the severity of the damage. A non-refundable 50% deposit is required at check-in to ship the device. Wow. Fucking rape. That's just, man. I never want to hear any of you bitch about my prices again. Never. Because like this, you're in the middle of nowhere too. Like where is this place located? So Eye Hospital is like we're in the middle of New York City. Fort Myers, Florida, Gainesville, Florida, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia. Like fuck out of here. You don't have $2,600 studio apartments there that are 300 square feet. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anybody bitching about my prices ever again. Oh, man. 50% non-refundable deposit. Holy shit. Like, I get doing that for some hard drive data recovery because a lot of the time you have to buy drives that you can't, you have to locate donor drives, and it's not a guarantee that the drive that you're working on is even fixable. I can kind of get it, but Jesus. But, like, for this stuff, really? I don't get shit if I don't make this work. I get 0. What the fuck are they doing right that I'm doing wrong that they have like 6 locations? Mind blown. Thank you, Tim, for bringing that to my attention. That was entertaining. Wall Street Journal is a 5-year-old video raving about iHospital. Of course. The franchise always gets the easy good press. Alright, so we got our wire. Let's make that wire now. You're not checking millions of capacitors. That's what's wrong. I bet if I checked my millions of capacitors, I'd get good press from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. In 30 locations. Alright. What else have I missed? No light. And I bet my ass that I still have 2.7 volts here. Oh, Jesus Christ. You piece of shit. Let's see. Feedback. Okay, that is attached to ground. Boost cap is attached. This nasty looking area is jumpered. Shutdown pin is getting its 16 volts. You need to do the 50% non-refundable, says Chris Long. Just fix the really easy ones and send the hard ones packing. Money for little time invested. Exactly, and it works, says Paul Daniels. Yeah, I'm doing this whole thing the wrong fucking way around, clearly. PP bus G3 hot is 0.43 volts. I never checked to see if there was a short to grounds on PP bus G3 hot. And there's not. Hey, why is my multimeter not showing up on the screen anymore? What happened? Okay, there we go. Just working slowly. So PP bus G3 hot has 11 million ohms to ground on one. Yeah, 10, 11 million. Voltage drop over the input resistor on the 10 volt path. Yeah, let's see. Voltage drop over the input resistor on the 18 volt path. Let's check that out. Let's put this into millivolts measurements. Oh, range. Let's do range change. Okay, we'll just do volts then. So let's see, our voltage drop, 1.181 volts. It does seem a little high to me, I gotta say. From 16.4 to 15.2. He is not reading chat. Okay. Have you tried Cyberflux? Oh, that's what this is. Yeah, I have a bubble wrap container with this stuff here. It's sitting in my like pile of stuff I get in the mail that I will fix once I'm done with all the nightmare boards. If you had their work plan, which is BS and fucks customers, it would give you $200 to $400 for this board for you to look at it and say nope, can't fix it. That would make sense. Check D7005, your 16-volt reading. 15.27 volts is leaking voltage between pin 6 on U7090. Is leaking voltage between pin 6 on U7090. Pin 6. Yeah, okay. What do you want me to check on D7005? You know what I'm kind of wondering is, what if I just cut PP bus G3 hot out of this altogether for a moment? Like, what if I just got rid of the diode? What if I just get rid of the diode but short pins 1 and 3 on the pads? Where's the... Why did I take a board that has flux all over it? Why? Why me? You should change your model. Yeah, damn straight. $400 non-refundable on everything. Check RTC. RTC has nothing to do with this. Like, literally nothing to do with this. Alright. The thing is, I know I've solved the 2.7 thing before, it's just I forget what it was. I really should write this stuff down. One of the resistors left of U7090 does not look good. I changed that one already, and yet it measures... Yeah, watch, we'll measure it. That resistor's probably fine. That's a fine hashtag resistor over there. Yeah, that resistor's fine. Wait, why are you switching back and forth between 1 ohm and what? Oh, the probes are touching. So this is a pain in the ass resistor to measure. Yeah, 190 kiloohms. That resistor's just fine. Nothing wrong with that. Hello to Vladimir. PP bus and PP3V42 are missing. The only common thing here is ISL 6259. It's Duke. Come to save the day. It is Duke here to save the day. We might as well shill the forum. Shall we shill the forum? So let's see if Duke is able to fix my idiot board problem. So if you sign up here, Duke will help you fix all of your board problems because he's a genius and I'm an idiot. So let's put the diode back on, repeal and replace U7100, which is the ISL 6259, and go from there. Let's get this ready here. Can Jeezit fix it with wine? Nope. My diode just just hashtag resisted and jumped off of my donor. Okay. That's fine. We can always grab another one. Can always grab another one. Danny Turner says, Lewis, thank you for what you do. My daughter got into watching you and has started working on friends' game systems that no longer work and fixes them. She is 11. That is awesome. I hope she's able to fix a lot of stuff that didn't work before. This better work, says Duke. Damn straight. Reputation of the forum is at stake. We need to keep our reputation as the best component-level board repair forum resource on the internet. First thing we do is see if it's not the diode, but I'm just gonna, since somebody gave a donation and was curious about the diode, we're just gonna go over that for a moment. I also have to purposely sabotage my soldering of the ISL here so that Duke can't be right. We have ways of cheating, don't worry. All right, so our PP3V42 voltage at this point is 2.8. All right, better than 2.7, but still bullshit. ISL 6259 comes next. And I gotta say, this is a nice, sexy looking ISL 6259. I've seen many worse ISL 6259s from here. Duke is gonna get banned. Okay, does anybody want to answer questions on the forum? This is a paying job. There's a new opening. We have a brand new opening. The forum needs a new Duke. What is TME.eu selling this stuff for? You know, we just had a price reduction recently, Duke. We just had a sale, so you may want to recheck your prices. We have amazingly affordable shipping to the EU. Okay. Get rid of that ISL 6259. Does reflowing an Xbox 360 work? It depends on your definition of work. If you want it to work for a long time and be a proper fix, no. If you want to just get your games off and have a month left of fun, yes. Okay, now I have to include some content for everybody. So we're going to replace the ISL for Duke, and we're going to wick the pads with a micro pencil for Jessa. Just in case she's watching. Here's wicking with a micro pencil. Oh yeah. Look at that. Look at that terrible wicking. Nah, we're gonna use a regular iron for that. I can't. Too much cringe even for me. Does that new Duke have to provide correct answer, or will any bullshit do? What does this look like? Answers to you? Of course it has to be good answers. Of course it has to be quality. Always wick. Especially if you think that Jessa is watching. If there's even the slightest chance that Jessa is watching, you must scrape. I never wick QFN. Neither do I, Duke. But don't tell. But neither do I. It's just we have certain viewers that we need to provide content for. Trust me. There's a story for this. There's a story to this. All right. Oh, heat up, you bastard! Come on. We're gonna wick and be wicked. Rachel Tucker would be proud how wicked this is. Where does 3.42 volts come into play in the ISL? The ISL, well, there's something called charger cell. And charger cell is going to tell the ISL 6259 whether or not it's going to be producing 12.23 volts or 8.1 volts in the beginning. Because you may have noticed the same chip is used on several different machines. And the way that it tells what voltage to use is via the charger cell. Okay, we're going to get my new ISL 6259. Yum leaded solder. Yep. The second place PP3V42 is going to be used is the SMC is going to talk to the ISL6259, and that happens over a data line. And the third is that you're going to be using PP3V42 for... It's going to use... Where did I put my ISL? Where'd you go? I just put this stuff down. And the third is it's also going to talk to the battery on that data line. Crap. I just lost my entire container of ISLs. Ah. I bet ISL is fine. I do too. I have a feeling it's something else. Because I've had this problem before where I was stuck at 2.7 to 2.8 volts, and it's always something else. But I could be... And I'm like, on one hand, I'm hoping Duke is right so that I could collect my money. On the other hand, I'm not sure. But to say that Duke does not have the right answer would be sacrilege. He has he has a near perfect batting average of always being right on every board issue ever for all time. Not being sarcastic. Like, read the forum. Like, seriously, read the forum. You'll see. Duke's batting average is crazy. Duke, where are you located, if you don't mind me asking? Duke is located in Pakistan. Feedback resistors in the wrong place. See, that's more likely. More likely I put the fucking feedback resistors in the wrong spot. So after I see that the chip is moved, I let go. But it's still not flat. I want it to be flat on the board. I want all the pads to be making good contact. So I push down, add my fluxy. This is most likely... The thing is, when feedback resistor is in the wrong place, I'm usually stuck at 1.6 or 1.1. I've never been... I don't remember being stuck at 2.7 very often. Now, there is a good possibility that the ISL was bad since Q7180 was not good. You remember, we had no flow at all with Q7180 until we replaced it. So anyway. All right. See, Panzer and Duke, I think that you are like the two people in the chat that are on the same level intellectually. You two would probably get along really well. Okay, now we're going to use my rapid cool technology to cool off that little section of the board before we put any power through it. Okay, we just use rapid cool technology and plug it in. And let's see what we get on PP3V42. Go over to PP3V42 and... fucking piece of shit. 3.42 volts is drawing too much current. I agree, the voltage drop is way too high. We never have a voltage drop of 1.2 volts over the input resistor. That's insane. Look at that. 1.2 volt drop over the input resistor. But at the same time, if we look at the resistance to grounds on PP3V42, hey, what the hell? You were 78 kiloohms earlier today. Why are you 21? Oh no, now you're screwing with me. Oh, you're making me look dumb. Okay, we're 74 kiloohms on this side. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not crazy. 75 kiloohms. 75 kiloohms. Okay. You know what? What if this capacitor is leaking? What if there's something fucked up with you, so I'm not seeing a short to grounds over here because it's behind all this stuff, because there's no short to grounds on output. But I'm seeing too much current being drawn to the resistor because this capacitor is leaking. What are you? 1.1, yeah, 11 million ohms. Okay, no. Hey, the cap is charged. This is dumb. I should get some breakfast. Inject 3.42 volts and check actual current draw. Let's go. Is that isopropyl drinkable? No. Never mix it with the Pinnacle. Let's see. Let's look at RTC for a moment. RTC is pretty sexy. SMC got some corrosion, but not a whole lot. But that doesn't look... Yeah, never mind. I shouldn't be defending that. That's not very nice looking. Anyway, let's just move the coil out the way for a moment, so we can inject something here. Don't want this to be part of my equation. Go away, little coil. Okay, where's the wire from my power supply here? Just out of reach, go figure. Come on, drag over. Drag over. It's going to be just fine with this because my power supply is not going to give a fuck if it's partially shorted. It's good. Feedback resistors are not misplaced. In that case, you would have 1.96 volts on output. Oh, I was close. I said 1.6, 1.96. Close. These wires look terrible. That's fine. Temporary. Temporary. Okay. Let's go for it. So I'm going to plug in my charger and then put 3.42 volts on my main little power supply here. Just plug it in under my desk since I unplugged it to plug in the stupid filming light. I ran out of outlets down there. Voltage, 3.425. Current. Okay, we're drawing 0.598 amps. 0.598 amps. I don't remember off the top of my head what that's supposed to draw. Seems a little on the high side. A little, yeah, 0.598 amps seems a little on the high side. And what's interesting is there's no green light in the charger. I'm kind of curious, is SMC on? Is anything else on? Are we getting PP bus G3 hot or no? Let's see. So obviously, make sure. PP3V42 is... Well, isn't that funny? PP3V42 is only putting out 3.17 volts. Huh, something has to be pulling this down or else... yeah, so we're only... That is way too much. That's more than I would want. But short is hiding. And PP3V42, I mean PP bus G3 hot is a straight up 0. Yeah, now that's not right. That's no good. And now we can use our doctor meter to find out where the location of the short is. All right, guys, ready? You excited? We're gonna find the short today. We're gonna find the short today with the help of my doctor meter infrared thermometer. Duke is probably going, what kind of fucking idiot uses this thing for board repair? But I got it for free. Feel clock chip for heat. Why would I have to feel the clock chip for heat when I could use this $50 useless thermometer? All right. Let's move this microscope out the way. let's see. The board is a fresh 94 Fahrenheit. The SMC is 102 Fahrenheit. Yeah, let's go. All right, let's see. Can you see this? All right. The laser can damage your lens. Be careful. Okay, go. This is such a dumb tool. ISL is 77. SMC is 101, which is something that I could just tell by doing this. Use my nose, my finger. See, that's interesting. Really? SMC? 70 kilo ohms to ground. All right, so this is interesting. You know what makes this funny? Is I just did the stream just 2 days ago. Let me find this. Where was this stream? You can't make this shit up. In this video, wow, no, not this one. Not this one. And you can burn out the image sensor pointing laser at camera. If that was the case, it would totally be blown out already. How hot is your forehead? Good question. As hot as the SMC, according to this thing. So I just did a video a while ago. This one, 12-inch retina, no backlight tips, where I was talking about how you can have chipsets that only short a line to ground once they're powered on. So you won't measure a short to ground, but as soon as the chip has electricity applied, it will short a specific line to ground. And I talked about how a lot of people who are new are not going to realize that. And here I am for like what? Fucking an hour and 57 minutes now, completely ignoring that fact. So yes, it is the SMC. Thank you to Karoops. So what do we do when the SMC is shorting something to ground? We leave it for Jason. No, let me find my stencil. Lame. Is Miles Blakely in the chat? I have a feeling that this is his fault. This is his fault. It's really funny, like, 'cause this stuff, I just talked about this 2 fucking days ago. 2 days ago. You kidding me? This went over in detail. Ay. Billet. Can you put a message with donation? I think so, yeah. Okay, so Duke said ISL, then clock chip. Since when is Duke wrong? This never happens. That must be an imposter. That's not the real Duke. Wait, so you're telling me that the inrush limiter on the Q7180 was burned and destroyed? We also had the issue with the input area around Q7010, and after all of that, the SMC as well. Wow, this board belongs in a fucking garbage pail. What a piece and pile of shit this is. Now the important thing about these pieces is you want to try to get them all off in one piece. You don't want any of that crap to be under the chip. That'll cause you all sorts of nightmares and heartache. Are you sure it's the SMC? According to the burn on my index finger, SMC. I should have used my infrared thermometer from the beginning of the stream. No, none of that shit's gonna get stuck under my SMC. If only I had used my new doctor meter. Is that edge bonding? It sure is. Yeah, the CPU probably be shorted to ground on PPVRTC after I'm done with this. I'm just torturing myself at this point. If I were iHospital, I could... So, Jessa, did you see that the iHospital page? $400 non-refundable deposit regardless of whether the board is fixed or not. $849 if it is. We've done enough preheating. This would be easier if I could not have this at an angle, but then you wouldn't be able to see. $400 no fix, they have to pay for their robot test machine. Probably. Try the Cyberflux, please. I will, as soon as I unpack it. I will give that stuff a shot. Now, what are the chances that donor board I was looking at actually has a 3435 SMC on it? Because if it doesn't, I'm afraid we will have to end this and go back another day. I have a 3437 SMC. Kind of curious if anything's going to be different between 3435 and 3437 SMC. I imagine it's all going to be the same. Yeah, my 3435 board doesn't have an SMC. So, 3437 SMC. How will you work on a 3435? Time to find out. Please do a voltage check on pin 3 of D7005 and pin 1 of R7080 and pin 6 of U7090. You said earlier Q7010 was shorted to ground and a bad diode would do that. Do a voltage check on pin 3 of D7005 and pin 1 of R7080. Well, first thing I have to do is put the SMC back on. What would... How long do these streams usually last? Until it's fixed. Or until I'm hungry. One or the other. At least you'll know for future reference. Until it's fixed or I'm too hungry to continue. Usually one or the other. Okay, let's take the edge bonding off of the board that I'm stealing my SMC from. And reball this bastard. What was that $150 chair? Let's find that $150 chair. I'm trying to browse Amazon while applying flux. Very bad idea. My chair is... This is the one that I'm recommending over the Aeron chair, because it's like the same thing, but much cheaper. Just as comfortable. Alright, I just linked it in chat. That's my... I bought another 3 of them for the office here, to replace the old shit chairs that we had. So let's take that SMC off. Wish Weller had bent nozzles. You specialize in Apple? Pretty much, yeah. Doing this amount of work is really only viable when you specialize. Like, I mean, I can't have all these donor boards and parts available for everything, and if I didn't, this would be totally non-viable repair. Like, I mean, I could do other stuff. It's just, at any given time, there's 200 to 300 tickets, and there's just too much shit to focus on everything else. Alright, come on. Pop off, little SMC. Can I... Ready? Some of that stupid edge bonding probably had it stuck. Yeah, Yeah, it looked like it was stuck by the, felt like it was stuck by the pads, but it was actually the edge bonding. A tiny little piece that was stuck in there. Manager's chair, indeed. Hello to T. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. We're getting close to the end. We're getting close to a green light and a fan spin. This board's going to think it's a 13-inch now.
Did an SMC on it?
What?
Did an SMC on that board?
We're about to. You shut your mouth. That's always it's always the trace between the diode and the resistor around Q7010. That's what that problem always is. You measured, you knew that this was this before you gave it to me. You bastard. Does Jason keep sitting on the crappy folding chair? Pretty much. Here, you want to see what that looks like? Let's see. Can I move this? Yeah, let's see. This is, yeah, that's his chair. Pretty much. Poor Jason. Poor Jason. Alright. But this is, yeah, that's what this looks like. Alright, now we're going to use an SMC stencil. And by the way, if you need an SMC stencil like this one over here, just come on over to mailin.repair, where you can buy an SMC stencil for the low, low price of $4.75. 37 in stock, shipped straight from New York City. Back to work. Oh. I can't wait to get the new chairs in. Shill. Indeed. I am a shill. Total shill. If you don't shill for yourself, then who will shill for you? Customers rage when you tell them I have to order parts. It will be a week, so you kind of have to specialize unless you can find understanding customers. Yeah, and East Village, Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan customers are not exactly going to be the most understanding with those things. All right, so first thing we have to do is wick. Can we game on said chair? Sure. There was this one company that wanted to send me a chair to review, but I had to do a good review of the chair. And then after the good review, I had to feature it in my YouTube avatar, in my YouTube banner, in my Twitter banner. And I'm like, okay, so what are you paying me for this? And they said, we're paying you with the chair. And it's like, suck my balls, man. You want me to advertise you on every single medium available for in exchange for a fucking chair. Suck a dick. New subscriber from the strange suggested videos thing. I'm a software guy, but I love your channel and what you do. Keep it up. Thank you to Crimson Dave. Thank you very much to Crimson Dave. Where'd my wick go? Jessa, did you take my wick away? Jessa took my wick away, didn't she? She took my wick. I had my wick and now it's gone. Have you ever thought about trying out the Seek thermal camera for Android? I found it very useful when you can't tell if a chip is barely heating up. It's only 150 and way better than the FLIR cam. I haven't tried it. And why didn't that show up on the screen? That should show up on the screen. That's lame. I have to figure that out later. To Jordan, I've never tried Seek thermal camera for Android, but I'm going to try it out as soon as I'm done. Thank you. Hi, Lewis. I'm a 17-year-old computer science student from Slovenia. Love the work you do. It's really helped me with some repairs to do on my MacBook. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much to Craftsbyte. And also sorry that did not show up on the screen. I have to figure that out later. They probably thought you were desperate for a chair. They probably did, T-Rose. Why do you think that is? Is there any specific reason you think that they thought I was desperate for a chair? You can really wick these chips hard. You can wick it. Don't, except around the corners. Be nice on the corners. Don't delaminate. That is a clean SMC. Well, almost clean. What are you doing, a backlight fuse? What do you want to modify it to be? Less blue? You want to have all... Is this something for... Hmm? What'll it do? Interesting. You must wick. See. Is it going to show you where the fault is by the... Jason is coming up with a system that I've been asking Paul Daniels for a year now. Fault is here system. That is the prettiest board I've ever seen. I take it back. Oh, man. Where's the Dutch guy? Why are you hiding him from us? The Dutch guy is in the Netherlands. You're thinking of Roy and Duke. They're two very, very, very smart people. Okay, now we're going to use some solder paste. Solder paste is a great thing for reballing. And you can find solder paste at a new low price at mailin.repair. $968 available, $29.99. Shipped straight from New York City. Same day. Back to our board. Let's get that stuff out of the syringe and onto my chip. My chipset. Cheap set. Cheap shit. There. Fault is here system was done ages ago. It's just a big finger pointing back at Louis Rosman. So many Pebcac faults around here. You bastard. Paul, how are you liking the new microscope? What is it like to be able to see what you're working on? It's a brave new world. If you clean the stencils, will they look better? They will, but I always forget to. Like I remember, by the time once I'm done with the SMC and I see the fan spin, I go, I'm done, getting a burrito, and then I turn the ultrasonic off and I forget to clean the stencil. And when I need to clean the stencil, the ultrasonic is usually not hot, so I'm not able to. It's a problem of memory. Why do you use solder paste and not pre-made balls? Because pre-made balls are a pain in the fucking ass. Pre-made balls jump out of the holes, and it's incredibly triggering. Pre-made balls. Okay, let's say I don't wick all the pads evenly, right? So let's say if I don't wick all the pads evenly, one is flat, but one has solder on it. Now with solder paste, if there's a pad that I did not wick all the way, less solder paste will fit in there, so I'll wind up with the same size ball. Whereas with pre-made balls, it's very easy to get variations in the size of the ball. But your mileage may vary. Makes me want to fix so many things. Now it's energizing. Need more things. My FX 950 run arrives in 24 hours. Are you sure it arrives in 24 hours? Did you buy it with UPS? I'm sorry. I'm pouring salt on a wound there. That's kind of mean. Okay, that's my balls. Shake my balls around a little bit before I go. Those are my pads where I'm going to put my balls momentarily. I want to get flux on all the different pads. And spread the flux around all the pads here. Get my flux on the pads, on the balls. And get a nice flat layer of it. Okay, now the thing is, you're going to know that the chip is in place once you push down. You're going to push down, and I'm going to move it back and forth. You see what I'm doing? I'm trying to move the chip up and down, and I scratched a little bit. I don't care. I'm moving it up and down, and it's not moving more than the diameter of a pad. So see this? This is the diameter of a single pad. The chip should not move back and forth more than the diameter of the pad if it's aligned properly. That's how I know that it's aligned right. Why don't you use the BGA soldering station you used in that video at Linus? Because that is like it's like hiring a professional chef to prepare you in a cinnamon toast crunch. It's overkill for this. It's not necessary. Is the test pad completely corroded out, bottom left SMC, just from the pair of horizontally aligned caps? There's a chance that it is. I don't think so. I'm going to scrape it a little and see. Can I scrape that while simultaneously trying to solder on the SMC without screwing something up? Come on, SMC. Now I'm going to wait for the flux to start to disappear. We're going to wait for the flux to disappear. At least start to, isolate itself under the chip, and then I'll know that I'm preheated enough, and then I can go close in on it for the kill. And there we go. I just saw it move a little bit. Move more. Now it's going to dance. Now we give it 5 seconds of dancing, because even if the outer balls have melted, it's possible that the center balls have not melted. But we don't give it more than 5 to 10 seconds of dancing, because then we burn the chip. So there's that nice balance there. And now we're going to wait for it to dry. We're going to dry it and cool it down in the most professional method possible. All right. Make sure that you're always doing your work in a professional manner. Oh, God damn it, that was dumb. May or may not have just accidentally used a wipe that had solder paste on it to clean my board. That was dumb. All right, let's clean that. Oh, fuckery. Oh, Jesus, that was awful. All right, so how about, I'm going to move my, let me just move my inductor back into place and ultrasonic it in the hopes that my ultrasonic will move all that stuff off. Whoops. That was a big whoops. That was a legendary whoops. Watch some right. Oh, that was dumb as shit. I can't believe I just did that after 2 hours. Holy crap. Wow. What? Oh man, that's awful. That's fucking awful. That is disgusting. Yeah, that's a lot of solder paste. Okay, maybe I'll be able to ultrasonic it off the board. Oh, I'm fucking fired. I'm How about that? Let's see. Do I have a toothbrush here? Maybe a toothbrush will help me out. I'll kind of toothbrush it while it's in the ultrasonic cleaner. I don't appear to has toothbrush. I could use a toothbrush. Oh well. Ultrasonic, you go. You've got your albums from the shelf. I do. And you fucked up. Oh yeah, that was a hardcore fuck up. That was a legendary fuck up. That was like eye hospital level. I'm gonna have to check. You know, we're gonna go a little beyond eye hospital here just to make it up to the customer. I'm not going to check every capacitor. I'm gonna check every fucking solder ball. How about that? Let's see. I have to have a toothbrush here. Surely there is a toothbrush. You forgot your jacket.
I know I forgot my sunglasses.
You need sunglasses on a rainy day. We have a toothbrush?
Toothbrush, good question.
I promise I'm not going to use it for anything wrong. I just want to like show it in front of the camera.
I have another toothbrush.
Oh, I could use a
We don't
toothbrush.
have the regular one though.
Do you need to brush your teeth with it afterwards?
No, it's only the head. I
Oh.
can't with the head. Wait, with the flux, because there's two, so I'll have
Oh.
to use more.
I'll take the toothbrush.
Because we don't have those, so
Wait, you use that?
I'm gonna give him more.
Wait, why?
This I cleaned the board with solder paste instead of alcohol.
Yeah, but I use those. Yeah.
Oh,
There's three of them.
but it's healthy for you.
It's free, anyway.
God bless you.
Anything for you.
God bless your generosity.
I take from Stephanie King.
That's fair.
Good night.
Have a good night. Hey, I got a toothbrush hit. Oral-B. All right, so where are we? It's an electric toothbrush. Shit, how do I make this thing move back and forth? How many volts do you think I need for an electric toothbrush? It's an Oral-B. It doesn't spin, it moves back and forth. Hey, the ultrasonic actually did a good job. I don't really need the toothbrush. I can clean this off and give it back now, right? You can. Let's see. What? You need the body of the toothbrush to make it move. Yeah. So I'm short. I'm short what I need to make this all work. All right, now I have to wait for this thing to dry off again. And we have to wait for the suspense. Was it the SMC or was it something else? This is totally uneconomical. If I were the eye hospital, I could literally make more money right now to say this is not fixable at $400 with the deposit than this wholesale customer with the fucking $200 for. Oh man, is dumb. The 820-3435 schematic I'm reading says voltage should read 18.5 volts at U7090 going to PP-D3 hot. No, you're thinking 18.5 volts for PPDCN. There's no way it says 18.5 volts for PP. Yeah, that's 18.5 for DCN. So it's going to be 18.5 volts for the 85 watt pros, 17.5 volts for the 60 watt pros, and 16.5 volts for the 45 watt airs. Usually. Typically. Aye. You use 1.5 volts of masturbation hand power, duh. What? Or 2.8 volts in our case. Ha ha. Stencil needs to, yeah, I should remember to clean my stencil. Thank you for reminding me. We'll get to see what the let's see what the ultrasonic does to this beautiful stencil. You also get some ASMR. You buy no-fix boards as donors when you can't fix them. I don't want donors that were liquid damaged. I like the donors that come without the CPU or the PCH or the RAM or the graphics chip on them. The ones that have never seen liquid damage, ideally have never seen use. Those are the donors I want. But donors that have had liquid, I don't want to steal off of a board that's had liquid damage because it's like cancer. Just because you have liquid in the upper right corner does not mean that the lower left corner didn't get shocked by it. So I'd prefer no liquid as donors. If it has a CPU on it, I don't trust it. Cleaning the stencil. Clean it with solder. Oh, fuck. Yes, I'm dumb. Okay. Gonna wait for it to dry off, and now it better have fan spin. And look at how unstable this desk, the combination of cheap tripod, unstable floor, cheap IKEA desk, and no optical stabilization in that Sony camera. Wow, look at that. Jessa says, what is Jason working on? Here, you can see. You can't see because of Zamo. What the hell are you doing? What is that? Can anybody tell what that is? It's an LED light. He's turning a light into a bomb, obviously. Oh shit, where'd I have the camera? Oh boy. Here, camera. Move back. There. Piece of crap camera. This tripod was $12 on Amazon, and it's holding a $3,000 camera. Makes total sense, right? Thank you for cleaning the stencil. Of course. That's a microscope light. Yes, it is. Send it to iHospital. That's a great idea. I'll send the board to iHospital. I'm sure they'll know exactly how to fix it. It's still a little... not dry enough yet. Let's flip my stencil the other way. It's a big ultrasonic cleaner for a really tiny stencil. What are you going to do to celebrate 300K? I don't know, maybe I'll have a Lane Staley-ish celebration. Why not buy a better desk secondhand? Desk secondhand. Because, like this one kind of works. It's comfortable. Is this 8202435-A or B? I'm not sure. I'm not even sure what the difference is between the dash A and the dash B. How often do you change the fluid in your crest? When it's so disgusting that the board doesn't go into it anymore, I wait until the liquid is so nasty that I try to dip it in, and it's like gravity doesn't affect it. It's just like sludge. I vote that you should fix your bathroom door to celebrate 300K. No. That's never going to happen. This light is blinding me. Let's turn this down a little. Much better. Time for our board to come out of the oven. I'll cool it off in the air filter for a minute. Are those sewing needles? Sewing pins? Yeah. Are those new LEDs that you got?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this works when you're done with it. Whatever that is that you're doing. Hello, Tarman. Remember when you said you're going to go to the Genius bar with a MacBook and ask, where does this probe go, and film it for 300K? Do it. That's the thing. That guy actually took it back. So I can't go with that specific machine. That does sound like it would be a fun thing to do, though. It was one trace. It was one trace. One trace. Should I keep sending in MacBook Pros for you to diagnose? Is it worth it to buy a test screen or keep sending you MacBooks to test ABC comp? What the fuck, dude? No. Okay, this is a great time to do this rant. Let's turn off the cleaner so there's no noise. Let's go over this. The entire purpose of the free estimate, offering you a free estimate on what's wrong, is for retail customers, like regular off-the-street customers. Now, when we give a wholesale discount, the entire idea, the understanding, the handshake, the implied understanding with the wholesale is that we're dealing with a store, not an end customer. So the reason that the wholesale customers get a discount off of repairs is because they don't do shit like ask for free estimates. They don't do stuff like call every day. They don't do things like, you know, just the usual stuff that customers do. And, you know, I don't mind dealing with usual customer stuff at usual customer prices. But, oh, this is a pet peeve of mine. There's another store that opened up around here, too. I'm not kidding. They came here with, they took the spot that I wanted 7 years ago, too, fuckers. But they showed up with a machine saying, okay, I want to know if this works with, with a different keyboard. I'm like, so did you spill, what are you looking for? And they go, I think it may be a board issue or a keyboard issue. I'm not sure. I'm like, well, if it's a keyboard issue, it's this amount of money. If it's a board issue, it's this amount of money. So what would you like to do? He's like, well, can you try a new keyboard? I'm like, yeah, but if it's a keyboard, it would be this amount of money. So if it is the keyboard only, are you okay with that amount of money? He's like, no, I just want to know if it's the keyboard so I can go back, buy one, and then fix it. And I just like stared at him because I thought he was fucking with me. I thought there was some sort of sarcasm going on there. Maybe it was, maybe like, what in your mind makes you think that I'm gonna stop working on shit for my real customers, the ones that chose to come here, so that I can help your store diagnose something for free? Are you out of your fucking mind? Out of your mind? And I was polite. I wasn't like I was here. I said something along the lines of, how would it benefit me to open this thing? Like, why should I take the screws out of this, plug in my keyboard so that you can know if it's the keyboard or the motherboard? Like, what do I get from this? It's just, and it just is so annoying because it's like you can put out all this information. You can have 600 videos detailing everything needed to be done to diagnose these, but that's not enough. No, that's not enough, you see. You have to show up. Ask me to use my screwdriver to take the screws out of the computer, my keyboard that I paid for, and my labor to plug it in to tell you how to do your job? Suck my dick. Politely, of course. Again, I'm always polite when people walk in. But what? No. Buy shit. If you're another store, fucking buy parts to test your fucking machines for your fucking customers. Holy crap. How do you... No. 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 Free estimates are for retail customers. And like I've wanted to start charging more money. Or like if it's a store and they send something for a free estimate, like it started with like $10 of return shipping, then like 15, then 20, then 30. And like at some point I'm just going to start charging $100 for stores for return shipping that send stuff for free estimates. Cuz I mean I feel like this is kind of an implied part of the deal. I feel like that, but it's less implied and it happens more with franchises than independent service centers. But yeah, if you're a store, by all means, you should have everything necessary to test this stuff. Not even to do business with me, just to do business with your own customers. Like Jessa fixes iPhones. She has a 6 screen, a 6S screen. She has power button flexes. She has charge cables and ports. She has batteries because she runs an iPhone repair center. Like even Sonny, like, the guy that I remember... He used to work here 4 years ago that opened up his own store. Like, we get along very well. We have a fine wholesale working relationship because Sonny, like, he does his own diagnosis. He has keyboards, he has batteries, he has screens, he has trackpads, he has flex cables. He has all these little things that he needs to figure out what's wrong with something. So then when he brings something here, he goes, I need you to do this. And then I do that. And then he pays me. It's not this like, I need you to tell me what needs to be done, and if it's something I can do myself, then I'm not going to have you no. Fuck that shit. Seriously. Like, the reason I have a good wholesale relationship with Sonny, and the reason we get along, is because he doesn't pull that shit. He doesn't pull that shit. Or it's just a fundamental waste of time. Like, free estimates are for customers. They're not for stores. Anyway, rant over. Need something to do while the board is cooling off. Let's see what we have here. All right, how many people have unsubscribed? Probably a lot. Probably a lot. What do we have? You shouldn't offer stores free estimates at all. I don't. I really just... let's see. It's like a splitting of labor. It's supposed to be a splitting of labor. With customers, there's no splitting of labor because I have no expectation that the customer do their own diagnosis. That's why the customer is paying a retail rate. I expect like a store to be able to do that stuff. Okay, do we get a light? Oh, no light. Do we get... I have a feeling I'm going to wind up tossing this thing and dremeling it. Wouldn't it be funny if the SMC I took off the donor board wasn't good? I can feel the rage coming over. Okay. Wait a second. Zero? That doesn't sound right. How did we get to 0 volts? Yeah, 0 volts on DC in, 0 volts here. Did I on what? Is my DC in board dirty? Oh, I'm grabbing the charger that's not plugged in. I just played myself. Okay, we have a new chance for hope. Okay, now that's the charger that is plugged in. And PP3V42 is 3.4 volts. PP bus G3 hot is 8.55, but I got no green light in the charger. Well, what's up with that? What's up with that? Let's see. The DC in board connector that I have looks good. All right, how about my DC in board? Is my DC in board good here? Okay, my DC in board is actually a little corroded, so I'm just going to measure around the 1-wire circuit on my DC in board. Let's see. So this is my standard 1-wire circuit over here on this beautiful DC in board. And over here I should be getting 3.4. And it's interesting that I get nothing. Huh. Here is definitely supposed to be 3.4. And here is supposed to be 3.4. So there's a break in the line somewhere where 3.42 volts is supposed to be going to my 1-wire circuit. Why is PP3V42 not making it over here? You know what? I just want to get out of here and get some food. So how about you know what we could do? I think the pins are all going to be fine on here, and they are. And let's see. How does this DC in cable look? This DC in cable looks sexy, beautiful, amazing. And this connector looks fine to me. So this is where PP3V42 is supposed to be going to my 1-wire circuit. This is U6901, U6900 on the older machines. It's on the DC in board in this one. So this PP3V42 goes here. SMC BCAC is going to go there. It's going to send 3.42 volts to this chip, which then allows the charger to talk to the SMC, which is going to be there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a little bodge wire so I can get out of here and get a fucking burrito, because I'm starting to get hungry. Do you have any wire left?
Huh?
Do you have any of that jumper wire left?
Yeah.
I need to run PP3V42 to the DC in board. Don't judge me. It's an annoying thing to work on. All right, let's go for the green here. Okay. So we're going to take my bodge wire. Yes, I know. I can always undo this later, but I'm a terrible human. I'm a terrible human. I put the inductor back on. You know, I'm getting... That's not it. Inductor is in its right place. Grr, my wire keeps dropping. I should turn the DC inboard around so it's more convenient. Bodge wire. Soldered. That wire is going to make a nice journey. To PP3V42. Just don't judge me now. These power on without green light just fine. It does. It is powering on without green light, Duke. I could feel the CPU getting warm. It's just I want a green light. Because the thing is, they're not going to believe me unless they see the green light that I've actually fixed it. I know these power on without the green light. I like to see before and after of the stencil. I'll show you the stencil in a few. Just going to put this disgusting bodge wire here for the time being. Shameful. It's like filing your nails. There, bastard. All right, new inrush limiter, new Q7010 circuit, new PP3V42 circuit, new SMC, and now bodge wire on my one wire. Okay, what do we get? Show me a light, you piece of shit. Fuck yeah! I win! Ha-ha! Look at that red wire. This beautiful little red bodge wire. You probably can't even see that. That's awesome. Now, I don't have the fan plugged in, but you can tell that it turns on because you can see that I have CPU V-core. So I measure over here. We get 1.73 volts of CPU V-core. See, I'm starting to get lazier and lazier. Like, first I would show you the Apple logo. Then I would show you fan spin. Now I show you CPU V-core. But really, I mean, CPU V-core, we're good. CPU V-core is like, it's like seeing the Apple logo on the iPhone. So that is it for tonight. I am getting out of here. This board has been a basket case. And as always, I hope that you learned something. Oh, people want to see the stencil. Fine, I'll show you the stencil. You want to see the ultrasonic stencil. I ultrasonicked it for 5 minutes at 80 Celsius, and I also forgot it and left it in there. So it's... Let me just alcohol it a little. Alcohol. Okay, you can see the stencil. This is what it looks like. Ready to be disappointed? Yeah. You really got to scrub this stuff off before you put it in there. Because if you have layers and layers of caked flux, it's not going to work very well. It's just pretty disgusting. Nasty looking stencil. Filthy. Okay, but to go over, before we go today, we are going to do a little bit of shilling, because the shilling is necessary. First set of shilling. Check out this forum where Duke and I will answer board repair questions. You can buy parts over here for, let's see, you can buy Retina MacBook parts, Air MacBook parts, all different types of stuff. You can search by your specific board number. It'll list it all for you. Some products have been recently price dropped. Let's see, MacBook Air 2015 here. You can search by stuff like this. You can buy flux. We got discounted flux. We got discounted multimeter probes. We've got discounted solder paste. You got all sorts of cool stuff over here. You can search by type. You can search by device. It'll have nice lists for you, nice pictures of everything. It'll tell you what phones the shit works with, like over here, compatible boards. And that's it for today. That is it for my shilling. And as always, for my stupidity, I hope you've learned something. Get rid of the filthy JTAG. No, I love that JTAG can stay on. I'll allow that JTAG. That board can keep its JTAG. That's a fine JTAG connector. I got nothing against it. Does the flux come with the plunger and tip or just the tube? Well, that depends. If you spend an extra $2, you can get it all. So over here, you can choose the size of your syringe, and if you want a plunger and a needle, it adds $2. And then you can check out with it. Do you sell replacement JTAGs? No, I don't. Nope. You can also buy that for the solder paste, the needle and the plunger. I still have a decent amount of these multimeter probes left here. We're going to be getting another 200 of these in. It's going to be awesome. All right, time to go. Time to go.